Hey, In2Picklers, today we're going to bust a pickleball myth. We're going to look at the cross-court dink, specifically this dink right here, the bailout cross-court dink to reset the point, and we're going to bust that myth in today's video. We're going to really go deep this today, so there's a lot of analysis we're going to do. Make sure you subscribe, guys, if you haven't done it already. It really helps get our content out to other players, and also will keep you informed of our videos as we put them out. Nothing in this video is a criticism of any player. We never intend to criticize anybody in any of these videos. So let's get into it and bust that myth up. Before we break the point down and get into the specifics, let's look at the point from the beginning so you have the context of it. It's a pretty basic point, serve, return, third shot. We're up at the no-volley zone, 50-50 point right now. And basically Tyson, who's on the right side, on the far side of the screen, is going to be dinking with Derrick across, and then eventually floats the one that we saw at the beginning, and Derrick puts it down the line. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to show you the point again, the dinking part that we're going to focus on. And here you're going to see basically it's a stress dink where Derrick pulls Tyson out wide. It's a little bit of stress there, so he's in a stress position. Question whether I should move over. I ask you to hold on to the question until the end so that you can make a decision then. And then here I move back a little bit, to go more like a center field position to cover as much area as I can. There's the angles of attack for Derrick, and then Derrick hits a really nice ball, nice and controlled shot down the line for the winner. Let's go back to Tyson's dink. Tyson's trying to hit cross court to this spot on this along this arc. If he had hit it, in the first 50% of the court near the net, then there wouldn't have been an issue, but it floated a little bit on him. So what ends up happening is Derrick ends up receiving an attackable ball. Again, that ball is made available because it travels along the arc that Tyson was intending to hit the ball, which is the target farthest across. Now, it's a true cross-court dink. But what if we took the dink and instead of targeting it all the way across the court, we targeted it more towards the center? Not exactly in the center, but maybe like 3 feet over from the center, 2 or 3 feet over from the center line towards Derrick. The real question is what happens if Tyson floats that one as well? In other words, let's compare apples to apples. So if he floats this one instead of the other one, Derrick would have an attackable ball, right? So he'd be able to attack along these angles. But really the more important question is, what's the difference between these two different balls? The ball that Derrick actually attacked in this point versus the ball that Derrick would have been able to attack had it been floated along the new target line towards the center, closer to the center of the court. That's really the question that we want to answer in this video, and that's the question that we're going to get into now. Before we get into the slides that show the aerial view of the pickleball court and show the angles and the length of shots and things like that, I want to explain those concepts because otherwise I think the slides won't be as effective or won't impart the information I want to show you. So what I've done is I put the players here in basically the same position they're on the court, which is basically everybody's up at the no-volley zone. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to make these players are going to be the closest players to you guys, who are Derrick and Jason. And then these players over here will be the farthest players, which will be me and Tyson. So what Tyson does here is he hits the traditional dink, which is what we're going to trying to talk about in this video, which is this cross-court dink. So he's basically coming here, and his target is somewhere over in this area here. Or maybe a little bit more like this, but basically his target is over in this area, right, like this. And so as you saw in the video, basically the ball ends up a little bit high here, and Derrick's able to punch it past me here after I move back here. So once Tyson hits it, you can see Tyson recovering. So this is the next frame that we looked at, and then the ball's over here in front of Derrick, and Derrick is basically able to punch that ball this way for the winner. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to explain to you basically attack angles, attack length, and also talk about danger zones and basically how we can incorporate the concept of danger zones into thinking of where we want to hit the ball. So the first concept is attack angle. So basically once we're in these positions here, and you'll see it better from the slide, but I want to introduce a subject to you. And I'm going to move him back just like with the ball here. So the ball's here and Derrick is hitting this ball. Basically, it creates a couple of the angles that he can attack. And again, you'll see it a little bit better on the slide. But basically, he can attack here and he can attack here. So those are his angles that he can shoot, there or there. Now, the other thing that we got to think about on this attack spot here is basically length of attack. In other words, how much court is available to him on the attack. If I move the ball over to here, so here, let's go back to here. So he has the whole court all the way to the baseline. And here he can go all the way to the baseline. If I move the ball over here, which is what we're going to explore in this video, is you're going to see that the angle changes. Obviously, it goes more, and I'll use purple for that, even though they're short lines, but I'll use purple. So basically, his attack angle is more like this, And he still has this kind of attack angle. Actually, you'll see it's a little more like this in the slide, and that's because of the position that Tyson and I are in relative to the shot. And you'll see, so the angle of the attack is a little bit different. But the important thing for the length is that this part here, if you see here, basically the length of the attack is shorter, because he runs out of real estate. So if Jason or Derrick were to attack a ball here, they have less space to work with before they're playing in the out of bounds. So first thing is attack angles, which the two angles that they have there. We discount this angle. Usually if you saw our attack the angles or cover the angles video, which I'll link to below, you know that there's three angles. There's always the middle, the down the line, and the cross court. The cross court we're not going to talk about here because Tyson's standing directly on top of it, so it's not non-existent. So we have the angles, we have the length, and then the other thing we have to understand, the last thing we have to understand in order to really appreciate the slides you're going to see in a second, is our danger zones. So I'm going to put, let me slide them back here just because it's easier to draw. So basically I have two players up in the no-volley zone, right? And you have to think about where is it that they can attack the ball. So, obviously, a ball here in the front, so a ball that lands in this zone here is safe, meaning that these players really can't reach that ball to attack it because it'll be too low by the time they can reach it. And what I do is I like to think of the danger zones as basically like arcs, and I'll make those in purple so they stand out a little better. So basically think of like an arc like this roughly, and an arc like this roughly. So these are like the areas that these players can reach with their paddle without moving forward, without moving to the side. So obviously if Jason moves over or if Derrick moves over, these arcs move with them. But these are kind of like the danger zones. So if we put the ball into these zones, that's where they can attack us. And that's what happened in the shot. The ball ended up somewhere around, say here-ish, roughly. And so Derrick was able to attack that ball, and the winning attack ended up going this way, okay? But understanding these danger zones then helps us kind of think about how we want to approach or what kind of trajectory we want that shot to take. And remember, here we're looking at a dink that went high. So dinks are going to go high sometimes. That's just the nature of the beast when we play. If your dink lands in this pink zone that I did up here, then it doesn't really matter where you hit it, right? So the question is, where can I target the ball to minimize the risk if my ball goes a little bit longer, a little bit higher than I thought, which is what happened here. Obviously, Tyson did not intend the ball to end up in Derrick's strike zone. He was trying to land it somewhere, in this zone here so that Derrick could not attack that ball. But it ended up going here where Derrick, it ended up going into this spot here. Forgot I have a ball magnet where Derrick could attack that ball. So the analysis that I'm going to show you here is going to suggest that instead of targeting your shot to land out here, why not target the shot to land maybe somewhere around here? Because if I look at the trajectory of this ball, so if I look at the trajectory of a shot from here to here, it's going to basically cross this danger zone in kind of in a potentially again dangerous area or dangerous way longer than if I hit it here. You'll see on the slide there's less of a chance of it being in the danger zone if it goes here than here. So those are the three concepts you got to understand. We'll get into the slides now, and I'll voice over that part of it. It'll just be the slides on the screen. But basically, understand angles, understand length, and understand danger zones. And in the slides, I think you'll understand better why a dink here is better than a dink here. Let's jump into the slides. We're going back to this particular shot, which is the shot that Tyson actually hit, the one that Derrick was able to attack. This first slide is an aerial view of the court showing the attack angles, which are the orange arrows, and then the attack area is the area in the yellow. The little orange triangles next to myself and Tyson are the areas that we can cover with our paddles. So basically the area between them would be the area that the ball could make it through and win the point. There's also a slide showing attack length. That's basically just to emphasize that you have to look at it both side to side and also how long you have to attack. The next series of slides we're going to make based on the new target, the target that we suggest Tyson should have attempted, and if in the event he would have missed the shot along that line, along that arc. The first slide again will show the attack area, and the second slide just to emphasize attack length. In these next two slides, we do a direct comparison of the two dink pass and the two resulting attacks so that we can make a decision as to which is the best spot. The first slide superimposes the attack areas available for both the original dink path and the new or proposed dink path. In other words, if he had missed along either one of those paths. And if you notice, you'll notice that the yellow area, the bright yellow area, is the area from the original dink, or the true cross-court dink. You can see that that area is larger than the area that's left by the green. In other words, the green, or the light green, is what would have been available to attack had the dink been attempted into the new spot and been missed. So, the way we see it is that you want to minimize the attack area, meaning that the new attack, or the new dink path, is a better dink path to try, because if you miss it, you're going to give less court available, or leave less court available to attack, and that's our objective, to minimize risk. In the next slide, you're going to see the same thing, but regarding attack length. What you're going to see is we drew basically like a little margin area around the edges, which is close to the sideline, so it's kind of where it becomes high risk to hit it out. And what you'll notice is the attack, particularly the attack on the top of the slide, or on the top of the screen towards the left of the attack zone, when you have the new dink pass, so where the dink is headed to the middle, the attacking shot actually has less court to work with, because it starts to hit the out of bounds sooner. It's a shorter path that it can go. Just as with attack area, if we can make the attack length shorter, in other words, reduce the amount of space that the opponent can attack, that's what we want to do here. Let's look at the danger zones for a minute. So what I'm going to do here is let's go back to the original shot, so the original shot that Derrick attacked. And what we'll do is let's look at the danger zones on a slide here. The first slide, what you're going to see is you're going to see we'll put an arc in here so you can see the danger zone that was available to Derrick, and you can see how the ball basically crosses that danger zone for a decent amount of its trajectory. Then what we're going to do is look at the proposed dink arc, or the proposed spot to dink, and we'll do the same thing. And we're going to put the danger zone, if you will, where it can be attacked there, and then superimpose the arcs for both Jason and Derrick, since it's more in the middle. And you'll see that there's less of it here. We're going to run a comparison slide here, and you'll see that on the original dink trajectory, the ball spends more time inside the danger zone than it does on the second. And just as with the area and the length, we want to try and minimize risk, and we'll keep it out of the danger zone as long as possible. Now that we know the answer as to where the dink should have been hit, what's the answer to the question as to whether I should have moved over when Tyson was over here? If you know the answer, comment below. I'm going to make another video. We're already 13 minutes into this video, so we'll make another video going over the movement here. I think it's really important. We'll deal with that in another video. Jilly's making a cameo back there, pointing to the right answer. You can see her in the background there. Subscribe to our channel so you get in the know, and stay sane out there, guys.